Now, the High Court has quashed the government's decision to close down the Dadaab refugee camp in Garissa County. Justice John Mativo has ruled that Interior Cabinet Secretary Joseph Nkaiserry and his Principal Secretary Karaja Kibicho acted beyond their powers by issuing the directive to close down the camp. The judge also directed the Tate, the two, to put in place mechanisms that will ensure the Department of Refugees was in place. The planned repatriation of refugees was also found to be arbitrary. According to the judge, the closure was in a breach of the Constitution. He added that Nkaiserry and Kibicho acted in excess of their powers, which amounted to abuse of powers. Now, this particular ruling comes at a time when Germany, that has taken thousands of refugees fleeing the conflict in Syria, is holding a key summit with African nations here in Nairobi. Our reporter Joy Doreen Beer caught up with a member of the German Parliament, Charles Haber, to speak about the manner Germany has handled the issue of refugees. She's now joining us live from the Intercontinental Hotel with more. Good afternoon, Joy. This particular ruling, as I've just mentioned, comes at a time when there's a key summit, and Kenya and Germany are known to receive an influx of refugees. What exactly is the reaction there?
Well, good afternoon, Akisa. And yes, indeed, we are on the sidelines of the German-African Business Summit that is happening here in Nairobi. But then, of course, among those present at this summit are members of parliament in Germany. And one of them happens to be the first African-German member of parliament in Germany. And he would like to hear his insights on what exactly he thinks about the crisis of refugees around the world. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for speaking to us once again. You know, Germany happens to be one of the countries that has embraced refugees from around the world. But how exactly are you able to manage the numbers coming into the country, considering Kenya was actually considering closing one of the largest refugee camps in the world?
So let me talk first about Germany. The situation is we have to, first of all, it's cost intensive. That's where you said, how do we manage it?
Yeah.
I think we spend about 20 billion euro 2016 just for programs for the refugees. But the refugee crisis itself, we have to see and look at it from different angles. And if we talk about African refugees, it's different. Like you talk about refugees from the Middle East. So also we have to talk about the impact it had on European policies in terms of the strengthening of the ultra-right. A situation in Germany is when we talk about the welcome issue from our Chancellor Merkel. Situation is, and was at that time, that everybody really appreciated that gesture, also within Germany. But that was an incident would really change the climate among German folks.
Yeah.
It was on New Year 2015 and 2016 in Cologne, when youngsters and young guys from the Maghrebinian zone, North Africa, attacked young women. They gathered around the dome, the center of Cologne, and attacked women, stole their money, and attacked them sexually as well.
And that's one of the concerns for Kenya as well, is that the more numbers of refugees we have in the country, the more insecure the country is going to be. But I don't know from your perspective how you would say Germany has been able to rule out all of these threats and fears.
First of all, I think we have to divide as well. People coming from crisis areas like in the Middle East, they have a right due to the Geneva Convention. We cannot change the Geneva Convention. Still, when we talk about Africa, the situation is different. Now we talk about, as we stopped to a certain extent, or to a larger extent, the refugee streamings coming from the Middle East. Now we have a focus on the refugee movements from Africa. Let me tell you one thing, as somebody who is also African, obviously, this situation and this phenomena was known. And just the difference is from the legal side, if you're a so-called economic refugee, you have no right to stay and ask for the status of a refugee. Now, the situation which is counterproductive for the Africans, let me say it like that now everything is mixed. Then everything is seen under the aspect of terrorism and inner insecurity. Situation is never ever in Europe an African originated refugees caused or initialized any terrorist attack. But now they're mixed up with all the others.
So how would you advise a country like Kenya deal with a situation like this? Because today the courts actually ruled against the closure of the refugee camp. How exactly do you advise Kenya to deal with the situation?
I think you cannot compare Kenya with Germany because you have the Al-Shabaab threat.
Right.
And it comes internally from Africa. It doesn't come from the Middle East, or maybe there's a cooperation among some terrorist actors in the Middle East, and which are penetrating also on sub-Saharan African soil. This exists. But so the concern, as you already had an attack in Kenya, or already over 10 years ago, and it's still, you have the danger. I was talking once to United Nations responsible about the danger which exists in terms of potential terrorists and terroristic acquisition within refugee camps. He said it exists. And that's what we also notified in Germany, that some people who caused attacks and who initialized some kind of criminal activities, they came as refugees. So very, very difficult, a very difficult question. And I understand, and I think it's understandable from my side also that Kenya says, okay, what do we do? How far and how high is the danger that it can harm our society and our nation on a bigger scale? And even if it's a smaller scale, if you have somebody who kills 20 people, it's 20 people. I understand it, but it's for me very hard to give an advice because there I would know more the details. And
all right. Well, thank you so much. That is Charles Huber, who is a German member of parliament, and he also sits in the Committee for Foreign Affairs in Germany, giving us his perspective on the refugee crisis around the world and how Germany has been able to manage the numbers coming in, economic refugees, and of course, those of them running in search of safety. Back to you, Akisa.